Hello, everyone. Welcome back to Lokmanya. We have been in conversation with Namrata Hasija. She is a Chinese foreign policy and India Taiwan relations expert. So far, she has told us the story of Taiwan, our relationship with them in the 1940s before PRC came into view, PRC as in China, which we know today. She also told us about how Indian and Taiwanese relations picked up since 1995 and how they are currently, as well as the different avenues which we can explore with them going into the future. Now, I want to talk to Namrata about her own experiences with Taiwan, with the people of Taiwan, and the culture of Taiwan. So, she has not only studied Taiwan, but she has also been there and stayed there. She interacts with them, she has seen their culture, she has seen various facets of Taiwan, which we do not usually get through books and studying. So, I just want to hear from you, Namrata, about
Hmm.
what were the different cultural aspects which you came across over there. What were stereotypical, what was something totally new, if there were any culture shocks, any anecdotes, stories. What makes Taiwan the country for you? I mean, why what makes it special for you? I would just love to know that.
Thanks, Gauri, and I think a special thanks to you for doing this section
Thank
because
you.
I've spoken to so many people, like my relatives, my friends, about my experiences in Taiwan, and probably time to time when the Taiwanese embassy here, I always call it Taiwanese embassy. I'm sorry, I never call it their office here. So whenever they give out the scholarships, they kind of invite me to share my experiences with the students who are going now. But just having a recording done of my experiences, I think is really wonderful to me because I always call Taiwan my second home. I mean, I've
Mm-hmm.
really absolutely fallen in love with the country.
Mm-hmm.
And whenever we read about Taiwan, when I was doing my MA, when I was doing my MPhil, we just stop where General Chiang Kai-shek, he flies to Taiwan and makes it base for then final reunification, which he had planned with the mainland China.
Mm-hmm.
So I personally, in my post graduation, in my graduation, though I had, even in my post graduation, I had 5 papers on China.
Mm-hmm.
I never read about Taiwan after
Okay.
this point of, this point of time. But when
Mm-hmm.
I was doing my MPhil, we were supposed to submit. We had a foreign policy. We were doing Chinese foreign policy, and that my professor, he asked me to make a proposal, research proposal.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't know why, but I chose China, Taiwan, and US relations, and I
Okay.
wanted to submit a research proposal on that. And I think
Mm-hmm.
that's the first time when I started reading about Taiwan and how things are, and what the policies of the US have been and mainland China have been. So that
Right.
kind of was the first experience for me about reading or studying about Taiwan. And I
Hmm.
think eventually I started reading more on Taiwan. I just got interested, how things were, because it was one of the four Asian tigers in the 80s, and the kind of economic boom that Taiwan saw, and then being a small island nation, and as anybody would say. So kind
Right.
of started reading a lot more. Then I joined, after my MPhil, I joined the Institute of Peace and Conflict Studies, and
Mm-hmm.
there I got to know that Taiwan, actually, the Taiwanese embassy here in India, they used to organize a kind of a trip, and they used to call it a Young South Asian Leaders Forum. And they
Okay.
used to take like 10 to 15 people from India, Nepal, Bhutan, to Taiwan, to
Hmm.
give them an experience of Taiwan and what Taiwan actually is.
Hmm.
So I applied for that.
Okay.
And Mr. Jaydev Ranade, who's my mentor now, he kind of recommended me that you apply for this, go
Hmm.
have an experience of Taiwan. So
Hmm.
fortunately, I got through, my application got through. And in 2012, I visited Taiwan on a 10-day trip. So
Okay.
in this trip, it was officially organized by the Ministry of Foreign Affairs, Taiwan. And we actually went in late September and came back in October.
Okay.
And, I had I had no expectations from Taiwan, how it would be as a country, because I had no a kind of a point from where I could think how it would be, because all I knew about it was from books, and I knew the culture is close to the Chinese culture. They have the same festivals. The majority is, of course, Han Chinese population. But when I went to Taiwan, it was a very different experience.
Right.
But I made very good friends with all the people who were there, all the Taiwanese who were accompanying us. And
Mm-hmm.
I saw Taiwan, my perception was I will not get any vegetarian food there. That was my perception. But
Okay.
it was a surprise. It was like a very happy surprise for me that they have
Mm-hmm.
ample of vegetarian food.
Oh,
And
do they?
some of the restaurants are actually vegan. Forget
Oh.
about vegetarian, they have vegan restaurants. I saw, like eastern part of Taiwan, absolutely beautiful.
Mm-hmm.
When you drive, there is like Pacific Ocean on one side and the mountains on the other side.
Wow.
So for me, I had seen the Pacific Ocean for the first time, so
First
I was
time.
really excited. And we had a wonderful trip. It was we did have some few lectures that the ministry had organized for us, but most of it was a cultural trip of Taiwan. Like we went to the pottery sessions that they had, the ceramic, different ceramic cultures that they have. We visited that. We visited
Mm-hmm.
in olden times, they used to, the way they used to have markets, now they have converted them into streets, and
Okay.
beautiful like streets where you can go. You have nice cafes, you have all those
Mm-hmm.
traditional things, and sometimes you'll see somebody doing a play there, so you can, it's beautiful. We went there. So we also went to Hualien, which is a beautiful part of Taiwan. So we
Mm-hmm.
went there, and I was like amazed at the kind of things that Taiwan had to offer, and the beautiful, and how beautiful Taiwan is, because um, it's a small country. So from north to south, if you take the high speed rail, it's 1 hour 90 minutes. So you
Okay.
can actually, cover the distance. And the southern part is different, in the
Mm-hmm.
sense the food is also different, and they have lovely beaches there. And
Hmm.
north, of course, is you have the capital Taipei. So we went to Taipei 101, and which is the tallest building in
Mm-hmm.
Taiwan. And so it was beautiful. So experience was beautiful. I came back. I kept in touch with all the friends I had made on this trip. But I also, of course, then came more in touch with the office here, the embassy that they had, and uh,
Mm-hmm.
the um, the official Isabel, who was there with us, who was also in charge of the whole trip. She became an extremely good friend of mine, and
Mm-hmm.
that started my association with Taiwan, I would say. And in
Okay.
2014, after, because I did not just, because I had visited Taiwan, I would write something about it. I took 2 years, did my research, did my background study, and I think the first article I published on India Taiwan relations was in 2014.
Okay.
So then, I consciously started, studying about Taiwan, India Taiwan relations. And I, of course, had friends in the embassy here. So I would definitely, I would ask for their help. What can I read? How the relationship is, get the data and everything, which is not that freely available, because there were hardly I think I just have one senior whom I know, who used to work on who started working on Taiwan per se, because I haven't come across anyone that time who was actually working on India Taiwan relations. So I
Mm-hmm.
think that I picked up. Then I had to learn Mandarin, because,
Right.
as I said, my mentor, he always said that if you don't learn Chinese language, there is no point in researching. I mean, there are so many people who call themselves China scholars, but they don't understand China. you will never understand even Taiwan if you don't learn Mandarin, because you need
Mm-hmm.
to understand the language. I
Right.
had done a year of Mandarin in Delhi University here. So, but he asked me to apply for a Taiwanese university, go to Taiwan, because, when you stay in a Mandarin speaking nation, you pick up the
Yes.
language better, then you get the nuances which you don't get in the classrooms here. So I
True.
applied for the scholarship in 2014. Now, when I reached Taiwan, I just kind of knew a little bit of Mandarin, like not, my spoken was not well, not very good, and also reading was difficult because Taiwan actually uses traditional Chinese, and what we were taught in Delhi University was simplified Chinese, which is
Right.
taught in the People's Republic of China.
China.
But honestly, again, I was really surprised at the way Taiwanese people treated me.
Mm-hmm.
As an Indian, we are always hesitant when we meet strangers, when we ask, when we are lost. Because most of the times I would be lost in Taiwan. I had no idea where to go, how to reach a place or something like that. And I
Mm-hmm.
would just ask people, I need to go here. I would just show my phone. Can you help me?
Mm.
And initially, I was a little this thing that, people, if they're going the other way, in the other direction, they would actually come with you and tell you, okay, we'll drop you there. So initially
Oh.
I was like, why are they doing this to me? Why,
Yes.
like
I
that
know.
thing that because we are grown up. Yeah, because we grew up like that.
Right. Right.
So then, but gradually I realized that they are genuinely nice people and they just want to help me.
Mm.
And I always say this, I don't know how Taiwanese are towards each other, like Taiwanese
Mm.
towards another Taiwanese, but they are an absolute delight when it comes to foreigners. They
Mm-hmm.
always go out of their way to help them, because I think one of the reasons I feel is they really want to give a good impression about Taiwan, that when people go back from their country, I mean, they definitely don't have a lot of diplomatic friends, but in
Mm.
this way they are going to create friends. But I
Right.
always feel, to me, maybe I'm biased, but I have always experienced and I've always got in touch with one of the best peoples in Taiwan, be it foreign friends that I have made in Taiwan, because we were
Mm.
a group of foreigners trying to study Mandarin.
Mm-hmm.
So be it them or be it the Taiwan or be it my Taiwanese friends, they have always been extra nice to me.
Mm-hmm.
So this whole experience of asking the way and then people would just lead you there. I once remember there was this person, I just asked the way and he said, he tried to explain me, just stay here. He
Hmm.
went on his bicycle, found
Huh.
the house, came back, and then he said, I will take you there. I found the house for you where
Oh
you
my
want to go.
God. Wow.
So yeah, so the experience staying in Taiwan was absolutely amazing. I've stayed there for 2 years, and like I went in 2014, came back in 2015. Then I've been there on some conference trips and everything, but then I went in January 2019 and I came back this January. So
Okay.
I think it's a wonderful country, even if people are considering to go for a short trip, because I know Indians, we are fascinated by Europe, by US, but I would definitely recommend Taiwan, which
Mm-hmm.
is absolutely beautiful. Me and my husband and me and my mom, we've traveled from north to south of Taiwan. We have had the absolute beautiful experiences there. You have mountains, you have oceans, you have everything there. You have a modern city, but you can also have a look at their villages. So it's beautiful. I mean, anybody can
Mm-hmm.
plan a trip. There's a direct flight from India to Taiwan, to
Mm-hmm.
Taipei actually, which flies thrice in winters and twice in summers. It's not
Mm-hmm.
every day, and it's a very comfortable 6.5 hours journey to Taipei, so it's not very far. It's
Right.
not expensive as Europe and US. Even as
Mm-hmm.
a destination to study, most of our students prefer US, Australia, or
Europe.
UK, which are really
Yeah.
expensive. But here you have world-class universities with professors. Most of them, they have their PhDs from either UK or US, and they have a very good infrastructure. And I personally feel I would recommend a lot of Indian students to try
Mm-hmm.
Taiwan. This time when I was coming back, there used to be a little coffee shop.
Mm-hmm.
It used to open at 7 in the morning till 5 in the evening, and it was very close to the place where I was staying. So I would just walk and sit there, read, and have my coffee. And I developed such a nice friendship with the owner, that when I was coming back, when my husband came to like get me back to India, I told her that I'm not coming back. She kind of hugged me and had tears in her eyes, and she
Oh,
was like, let me add you on, because Taiwanese use Line. So she's like, let me add you on Line and we should be in touch. So we are actually still in touch
that's
with
sweet.
each other. And I have so many Taiwanese friends who are, some of them are actually Taiwanese army officers who are retired
Okay.
now. They are
Mm-hmm.
professors. And,
Mm-hmm.
but, the kind of friendship I have with them, it has never like come in between that they are professors, or, they
Right.
are, such senior people. They always treat me with all the love and all the
Mm-hmm.
care that anyone can do. And I have really, like, Taiwan has been a really good experience for me, just staying there.
Mm-hmm.
And and
Right.
probably working there. I think one of the only countries that if I want to anytime settle abroad, I would always choose Taiwan as a
Wow.
place where I would like to settle down. Yeah.
That's wonderful. In fact, listening to you, it does sound very beautiful and fascinating. I've been wondering what is the life of a young Taiwanese person, like you and me, maybe a young student or a young professional. What are their aspirations? What do they want to do? What are the things they are interested in?
Hmm.
Somebody of our age, somebody maybe slightly younger to us.
Hmm.
How are they? How is the Taiwanese youth of today?
See, one thing, of course, is common between Indian youth and Taiwanese youth. Both have the target to go to US. If
Okay.
they really, if they want to make, they think they want to make big in life, they really have to go to the US.
US.
But yeah, other than that, I think very hardworking. And
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I've observed that even little kids, like they go to school, then they have this Pushi Pan, which is their I mean, it's kind of a coaching center, but where they would learn English, where they would do their homework, because their parents are working and everything.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, I think younger generation, I witnessed quite a few things. Like when I was in 2014, there
Mm-hmm.
was this whole Hong Kong thing that had started.
Yes.
And
Yeah.
I saw how the Taiwanese youth actually got together in supporting Hong Kong. And my university, especially where I was, Changchir University, it's
Mm-hmm.
like a place where liberal arts, and it's like a political, center also. Some people will have a different experience, but I had a different experience because I could speak Mandarin. I spoke to them, I talked to them, I would discuss with them how they feel, what is important, and why do they think that supporting Hong Kong is very important to them. So they would say that we are Taiwanese, we are not Chinese. And you also see a divide between their parents and between them, because
Mm-hmm.
people who are mature and all, they always feel that we should maintain whatever the status is right now, because we are a small nation, and we cannot, like, put a fight to with the Chinese. So, and most of them also, because a few of their parents had actually come from China, so they had grown up like that. But most of the young Taiwanese now have a very different vision of Taiwan, and
Mm-hmm.
they definitely don't want to see the same thing happening in their country as that happened in Hong Kong. Then again, when I went this time, again the Hong Kong issue came up in June. And there were posters in the universities. They had organized walls there, and they would put little postcards there, and save Hong Kong. And they were
Okay.
the Hong Kong, yeah, they supported the Hong Kongers wholeheartedly. They were I have seen such big shows being organized to support Hong Kong. And yeah, so I have seen a different probably side of Taiwanese youth that I don't know if a lot of people who travel to Taiwan, or they kind of visit Taiwan, they will have a different perception. But I have seen this. I've also seen this side of Taiwanese youth,
Mm-hmm.
and I always feel this will be a major factor when China actually decides to do something with Taiwan, and if international community, and I include India also in that, if we fail to come to Taiwan's aid in any way. I'm not talking about any military aid, I'm not talking about anything, but yes, just the support to a democracy. If we fail that and China decides to do something, I think this is the force that China will have to reckon with, because the youth is totally tilted towards being a Taiwanese. There's a recent survey that was done by Chungcheong University where more percentage of youngsters and or people in Taiwan, they identify themselves more as a Taiwanese and not as Chinese. So Taiwan, they should look as an opportunity, a country where they'll enjoy freedom when they go. It's not that, I'm sure, I don't know, many people go to China, many Indians go to China, especially
Yes.
our medical students go to China.
Yeah.
But honestly, I have traveled in Taiwan, I have also traveled to China. There is a difference. Maybe I'm a liberal arts or international relations student, or, because I've studied all that, these are the things I observe. I don't know about others. But the way people treat you in Taiwan, I have never seen that the Chinese treat you in the same way. I
Mm-hmm.
mean, maybe that's my own personal experience, but that's how it is. And at least all the youngsters who want to study abroad, I would say Taiwan is a very good option for them.
Okay.
They will have to spend less money. They can also apply for scholarships. They might not get in the first year, not everybody will get a scholarship, but they will
Mm-hmm.
definitely find some support in the universities. The food, the stay is not as expensive as it would be, like I said, if you travel abroad. They can
Right.
look at Taiwan not only as an education destination, but of course as a country. I know a lot of youngsters have these Xiaomi mobiles and Oppo mobiles, but definitely when it comes to technology also, Taiwan is very good. I mean, I have bought
Yeah.
many electronics from Taiwan, and they are extremely good. The quality, everything is so good.
Mm-hmm.
And if students who want to study artificial intelligence, there is actually an MOU that has been signed with a university, Chitkara University in Punjab and a university in Taiwan, who have signed an MOU. So artificial intelligence is one of the many fields that Taiwan is really good at if the youngsters
Right.
really want to, study there. But other than that, the youngsters, they should definitely look at Taiwan as a country. We should have more people to people contact, because if more people in India will know about Taiwan, they will definitely, public opinion is also very important, right? Look
Of
at the way
course.
the government right now had to take certain decisions regarding China. They had
True.
to take it because there was a lot of domestic anger. So now,
Right.
if youngsters start to know about Taiwan, that is
Mm-hmm.
also one of the ways that there'll be an international support for Taiwan.
Of
And that is
course.
also one of the reasons why Taiwanese government, they give scholarships, so that
Mm-hmm.
people come to Taiwan, know about Taiwan. And
Yeah.
that's how you create international support. So I think youngsters should definitely start at least reading about Taiwan, what it is, and
Mm-hmm.
what can be done,
Right.
and engage with Taiwan.
Right. No, and with researchers and experts like you who are traveling there, who are actively already engaging with them, I think the way forward is very hopeful, and may your tribe grow. Actually, I hope there are more people who study like you, who go there, visit there, and I really hope that in the next few years we have more information on Taiwan. We have more exchanges.
Yes.
Namrata, thank you so much for talking to us, for giving us your valuable time. I know you're writing papers, you're writing books, you're researching. You have a very hectic schedule, but you took out time, you spoke to us, and you guided us patiently through the entire journey of how Taiwan came into being, to how Taiwan could be with us in the future. Thank you so much. I'm really happy to have had these conversations, and I hope we can keep speaking and engaging with each other, as well as with uh, Taiwan and other countries in the coming days. Thank you so much.
Definitely. Thank you. Thank you.